All right, everybody. Sorry for being about a minute late there for the best webinar on how to do an open house to generate both buyers and sellers. So let me know who has got an open house this weekend, either your listing or a borrowed one. Go ahead and leave a comment. Let me know yes or no to an open house. So yeah, let me know if you got an open house this weekend or a weekend coming up. And we're going to walk through some phenomenal ways to market that open house. We're getting some buyers, we'll get some listings. All right. Absolutely awesome. So go ahead and let me know. I'll just wait a minute for people to wake up and let's see what we're doing here. So Taylor's got her own listing. Okay, awesome. And I'll tell you, whether it's your listing, sometimes getting a borrowed listing maybe even be better, just depending, because the property that we hold open will dictate a lot, similar to the marketing that we do, similar to how we hold the open house itself. So there's really four things: the home, the marketing, how we host it, and our follow-up. Those four things right there all matter, and I would say somewhat equally, because if we don't have the right home to hold open, we may or may not get a lot of people to it. If we don't market the open house, then we're not going to get in front of a lot of buyers or sellers. If we don't host the open house properly, we're not going to be able to engage them. And if we don't follow up, we're not going to be able to convert them. So it starts with the house, the marketing, the hosting, the follow up. If you do those four things at a super high level, and here's the thing, you don't need to get nervous. You don't need to feel bad about yourself if you start off subpar. But the goal is to do open houses on a regular occasion to the point where you start nailing all of the stuff at a higher level. All right. So Adam's got two that he borrowed for the weekend. Awesome, Adam. Well, let's get at it. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give everybody this link right here. This is kind of a little bit of a catch-all for open houses. It's listingstoleads.com/open house for those of you watching on the recording. And if I scroll down from here, the first thing I want you to notice is a cheat sheet. And if I click on it, this will be, and what I would recommend that you all do here is once you are here, go to File and don't download, but make a copy so that you can save it in your Canva. And you may want to save it somewhere to your computer. And what you're going to find out here is, and I'm just going to mention a few things. We may come back here a little bit later. The 7-day marketing and lead gen calendar for buyer and seller leads. 5 days of Instagram stories with links and polls. So great post right there to be able to post to Instagram stories. You can do this on TikTok as well, where you include links and like to the single property website, to a landing page, different things like that, offer PDF guides. And this way we can, while we are marketing the open house, we're also marketing other things that the person viewing the open house post might be interested in, like the top 6 things to check before buying a home, the ultimate guide to buying a home, the single property website, different things like that, where again, people that are looking at your listing would also be interested in getting more information so that we can add value and better engage people. We've got posted with one of our clients, John. He did an open house in October, and the AI text qualified the lead, and he engaged with them and wrote an offer that was accepted and expected to close in about 2 weeks. So he wrote a $500,000 offer on an open house Facebook ad lead. And again, the AI text qualified it. And once it was qualified, he engaged with the lead. And man, he must have made an offer in the first home they saw, because it was pretty quick. Another client here did an open house, 3 buyer leads and a listing appointment, and 1 seller, 2 buyer leads. Another one, seller request visitor to sign in Canva. So this is going to open up to let me see here. And so notice if I click, the link here kind of comes down there. And this is, and for any of these links like this one here, what you can do again is you can request access to it, and then you can go file, make a copy, again, copy it to your Canva, and then you can swap out the photo with a photo of your listing. You can swap out any of this stuff right here that you want to. And this is just a seller request that everybody signs in for security purposes. It's kind of nice to print up a couple of these, one to put at the door, maybe one to put next to the sign-in area, so that you get more people. And that way you're not running after people so much. You just mention, thank you for signing in per the seller request. It makes things a lot easier. Your seller showcase video. So we've got a video in your Listings to Leads account. And this video right here, there is a video that there's a link that explains this right next to it. And this video, again, this is something that you can download from your Listings to Leads account. You can play it from your Listings to Leads account. Some people will put it on their YouTube channel and then play it on the seller's TV. Adam, if you're borrowing a couple of listings, you probably will not have access to the seller's TV. And it's great to play it on an iPad, play it on a laptop. And all of those homeowners that are coming through, whether it's a neighbor or a buyer that owns a home, they see this video playing, they're going to check it out for a little bit and see how amazing you are, right? When sellers ask us, what do you do differently? How are you going to sell my home, right? What is it that you actually do? This video, along with our presentation booklets, answer that question like nobody's business. People actually get listing appointments from this video playing at an open house. And so we got, back at the cheat sheet, right here is the link that will show you how to do all of that. Open house sign-in forms. Let me see what that is. Open house sign-in form. And, okay, so just a little information about the sign-in forms. We're going to be covering that today. And PDF guide, print flyers. This one's actually really good. Again, this is something that at an open house will help you engage both buyers and sellers. So we've got 80 different PDF guides in your Listings to Leads account. And when people take the print flyer and they put it in a little acrylic flyer stand, or you can just put it at, laying on the table even. And here's another example. Here's a little how-to video. Some more examples, right? Again, these are all print flyers. We got vertical, we got horizontal. 12 mistakes to avoid when selling your home. Sometimes people are going to scan the QR code, and sometimes they're just going to sit there looking at it. And when they're looking at it, you can approach and engage them and offer to email it to them and get their email address. So a lot of great ways to engage people at the open house, as you can see, using the Listings to Leads platform. And again, that was at listingstoleads.com/open house. And all of that was available via the cheat sheet right there. Some of it we'll be covering today. If I scroll down a little bit further, we're going to be walking through how to market that open house to get buyers and sellers and homeowners to the open house itself. And this is explaining all of that. And again, we're going to cover that. And if you can, log into your Listings to Leads account. This is a great read. You'll see here more information directly about doing Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube Shorts. And there's a couple of examples. We'll come back to this a little bit later. If you do not know how to use Instagram or TikTok, how to do this, here are a couple of how-to videos. And I'm sure for some of you, you are already thinking, what the heck? Like, how am I going to do all of this? Again, you don't need to do all of this the first time out. But what I recommend that you do is get a little bit better every single time, because while this is focused on doing it for an open house, everything we're talking about is just general good marketing. So none of this is a kind of a one-off thing that has no other application. For example, being able to use a listing and doing daily stories for that listing in different ways so that it's presented differently is going to give you a lot more exposure than just doing one post for a listing. All right. A lot of people will do a post for a listing, but why don't we just break that up into 5 or 6 different stories with different call to actions in each one? As you can see from the screenshots right here, there's a link right in the story that people can click, and you'll see that in the examples here that we'll look at a little bit later. And I'm going to scroll down a little bit further. We got the nearby homeowner letter, which we'll look at. One of the top ways to get people to visit us at the open house. And circle prospecting. We're going to hit our database. All right, short form videos, the property website, listing flyers, sign writers. In fact, one of the first things I want to talk about here, because it's Tuesday. Now, if it's not your listing, you may not be able to do this. In fact, you probably won't be able to do it. But if you are the listing agent, go to your association, get these writers. All right, these go on top of the yard sign. Put this on the yard sign. While you're there, get an acrylic flyer box that can also attach to the yard sign. And when we get into the account in a little bit here, we look at the listing flyers. You're going to want to put the listing flyers on that yard sign, because while you're marketing the open house, some of the people are going to do a drive-by. The neighbors are going to see that you're having an open house. And so to be able to have the listing flyers and a sign writer like this right here, and I'll point that out in a little bit here as well. You can get them made locally. You can order them from within Listings to Leads. But these are some of the best ways to generate great seller leads and great buyer leads. And it is something that this is something I can move from listing to listing to listing. So, it's $8. I can keep it for probably at least a year before it starts getting too raggedy. Same with the acrylic flyer box. Same with the sign writer that with the text information on it. These are essentially capital investments that you can make in your business that will produce some of the best leads and the best cost per lead in the business. So we'll talk about that a little bit later as well. And then we're going to talk about open house mastery, which is a little bit on how to host the open house. It's one thing to get people there. It's one thing to generate some leads for the open house, but it's a completely different thing to actually hold an open house in a way that creates engagement, that creates conversation. All right. We can't convert if we're not having conversations. So how do we initiate? How do we get more conversations going with the people at that open house? Taylor, I am, but I actually do not want, I don't care for the one with the QR code. I like the sign writer that just says text 456-835 to 25678. That way I get the phone number 100% of the time. So there, you get both options. So you can get ones with QR codes, you can get some without. I just prefer the ones without. So that way when they request what they'll get is a mobile responsive virtual tour sent to them automatically. And I would just rather have the phone number 100% of the time so that I can follow up with them. All right. Here's that video that we're looking at a little bit earlier. So this is the video. So that's something you're going to want to take a look at a little bit later. A little bit more about the open house sign-in form. 7 ways to get listings after your open house is over. So some amazing follow-up. And let's get at it. I'll leave that there. When you log into Listings to Leads, you're going to land on the dashboard. And we're going to go, first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to Marketing Calendar. And I'm going to show you, and we're going to go to Presentations. So there's Marketing Calendar, Resources. Now, resources, if you're not in our Facebook Mastermind group, click here to join the group. Check out our Instagram and check out our YouTube. YouTube is where this recording will be. All of our YouTube videos are at our YouTube channel right there. But we're going to go to Presentations and Open House Mastery. There is a presentation. There is a guide. The guide is just the PDF version of the presentation. And then there's a checklist. The checklist is great to print up and aspire. Now, again, you're not going to be able to do all of this the first time through, but the goal is for you to take a look at this checklist after you go through the training and just go, you know what? Every open house I do, I'm going to get a little bit better. I'm going to get more of these done. I'm going to do them at a higher level. I'm going to learn what works best for me when I'm doing these things so that every time I do an open house in the future, I can make sure I'm maximizing the number of buyers and sellers coming to the open house generated from the marketing I'm doing, and that I engage both during and after the open house is over with. That's the name of the game. You know, an open house is not for you to sit there and waste 2 hours or to sit there for 2 hours watching YouTube videos or scrolling through TikTok. The goal of an open house is get more exposure for the property. We've had people get offers on properties at the open house itself, but it's also for you to generate more business. All right. So it's really, I like to think of it as a two-pronged approach. Give buyers the ability to come in and take a look at the property. You know, again, people come through the open house. Sometimes they come through unrepresented. We've had clients get buyers that they've represented and essentially double-ended. If you don't do that, you can refer the buyer out to another agent in your office, get a referral fee maybe. But we want more exposure and hopefully sell the property and meet more people. Or we want to expand our audience. So the checklist I would definitely recommend. And then let's take a look at the presentation. We're not going to go through this in great detail because I could sit here for an hour going through this presentation. And I'm just going to skip through it here. All right. And if you're a trainer, if you're a coach, if you're a lender, if you're a broker, if you're a team leader, this would be a phenomenal presentation to go through. You can learn it yourself by just going through it once or twice. But again, your listing or borrowed, I would at least try to do an open house every 2 weeks at the worst, right? At the best, do one open house a weekend. And you can do an open house during the week. People do open houses on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays. One of our clients, Dustin Fox, who wrote 6 Weeks to Agent Success, he does 3-day open houses. He'll do Friday, like a neighbor preview invite, then a Saturday and a Sunday open house. So there's a lot of ways to do open houses that you may not be even thinking of. Go ahead and take a Tuesday off, take Wednesday off, take Monday off. But, you know, spend at least 3 to 4 hours on a Saturday or a Sunday to do an open house because, you know, similar to working retail, that's where some of your best business is going to come, is when, you know, all the normies are off of work, right? It's hard to have an open house on a Tuesday from 1 to 4 because people are working for the most part. It's better to have an open house when people are not working. So as a real estate agent, my goal is to meet as many people as possible. The best way to do that is when they're not working. So I'm going to do that on a Saturday or Sunday or in the evening, again, for a neighbor preview. And the whole goal is really to create an unforgettable experience. And so you can go through, I'm not going to go through this in great detail because I want to make sure we spend time on the marketing, but I do want you to be comfortable and familiar with it. So later when you come back here, you'll get more out of it. I love what Jared James says here. 72% of people work with the first realtor they have a conversation with. And that's so key. And that's what the whole goal of what we're doing here is: get more people to the open house, create more conversations, and get more people in our pipeline. In addition to getting the house more exposure and hopefully getting the home sold. All right. So here we go. Picking the open house. This is so important. And so I want to make sure I spend just a minute on this. Do it in an area where you want to generate leads. So we don't want to be too high. We don't want to be too low. Want to be in the meat of the market. If it's not your listing, what I would look at is, where are most of the transactions happening? What area? What price point? There's no point in doing an open house for a listing that has no buyers or no sales, all right, for that type of property. So it might be nice to hold open a $5 million property, you know, a half hour out, like in this beautiful estate, thinking, wow, what if just that one person walks through? Man, that's going to be a hard one. All right, that's going to be hard because it's going to take you an hour to set up. It's going to take you an hour to break down, and the likelihood of you getting good business from it, either buyers or sellers, is probably so low it's not even worth it. You don't want to do it in a condo building where there's security. I don't want to do it in a gated community necessarily, where it can be hard to get in and out of it. All right. So everything being equal, I want it to be in a good location that's easy to access, in a good price point, and that shows well. I don't want to be sitting in an open house that's empty, because what's going to happen? People are going to walk in and they're going to go like, oh, you know what I mean? It's like, why would I do that to myself? All right, so do it. We touched on that a little bit, about make sure it's in an easy to get to area. All right, if you don't know how to borrow a listing to hold open, talk to your broker. All right, and again, you can go through this a little bit later in your own time. We're going to go through this part in detail inside of the system. So let me see. Oh, there we go. All right. So we're gonna go through all of this hands-on. So don't worry about this right now. We're gonna get hands-on into this. If you're the listing agent, think about doing a neighborhood exclusive. This is very, very powerful and can be a wonderful way to meet the neighbors. So if you got the ability to do it, this is a phenomenal way. Maybe like on a Wednesday or Thursday before the open house. Again, some people do it on the Friday before the open house. We've got a nearby homeowner letter that you can use. You can do circle prospecting, right? You got mailbox power, or My Plus Leads, Red X, Vulcan 7, different programs. Get the phone numbers, invite the neighbors. Here's a little script that you can use. So it's a great little script. And if you're going to do a neighborhood preview, having a little bit of catering will go a very, very long way. And I'll touch on the catering part a little bit later while we're doing this today. Make sure that the homeowner promotes it on Nextdoor as well, and any Facebook groups that they may belong to. So again, we got a lot of great information here on how to make sure that gets done. If you do a neighborhood preview, you're going to want to make sure you do this. And even if you don't, you're still going to want to invite your database to the regular open house. And we want to personally invite 5, 10, 15, 20 people, depending on how big our database is. But we want to make sure that our database understands that we provide a higher level of service than the average agent. The average agent does not invite their database. The average agent doesn't personally invite anybody. And if we want to be the average agent and close 1 to 2 deals a year, go for it. But I want to be the type of agent that provides a luxury level of service. And so as part of that, I'm going to be calling through a few of the people every time I have an open house in my database to personally invite them. Some of them might be homeowners in the area, some might be buyers in the area, but I'm going to reach out. And because I'm not asking them to buy or sell, I'm just saying, hey, we're doing an open house. We'd love for you to stop by if you have a chance. All right. And again, there's a script right here for that. In the presentation here, it gets into the open house experience, right? First impressions, over deliver. We're going to have handouts. So let me spend just a quick minute here because this is important. When somebody comes into the open house, there's a script on how to greet them. But in your mind, I want you to be thinking, you're going to have a listing flyer, have a 1-page neighborhood guide or summary. And you can do that through ChatGPT. There's actually a prompt a little bit later. The open house feedback form or the open house sign-in sheet. There's a printed version. You can also use the online version. A lot of top producers like the printed version better. And there's a few reasons I'll get into a little bit later. A pen, and have a printout of all the other open houses and listings in the area, but you're not going to be giving that to them at all. You're going to offer to send it to them later, but you're going to have that available. You'll have one copy of that available if people want to take a look at it, but then you'll offer to send it to them either via email or text. Always know about the home itself, know about the neighborhood, know about the community. If there's an HOA, know about that. All right. Know where the closest grocery store is, the elementary school, the high school. You do not want to be in a position where you're going, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. It's not my listing, right? No one's going to want to work with you if you're going to have that kind of attitude. So we want to make sure that even though it's not our listing, that we spend maybe 30, 45 minutes just learning about the property itself, learn about the neighborhood, look up what's the elementary school, how is it rated, where's the grocery store, are there any little cafes around. I want people that come through to think it is my listing, even if it's not. And if it is my listing, I better know all of these answers. Okay. So again, and also be an expert in all the other listings that are currently active, pending, or recently sold. I want to be able to have an intelligent conversation with people coming through, both buyers and sellers, about the homes that have recently gone into contract, the homes that have recently sold, maybe the highest price listing to ever sell in the area. I want people to recognize me as a neighborhood expert, and I don't, it doesn't take me 10 years. With a little bit of work ahead of time, all of this I can know very, very well. And if I got to take some notes, take some notes. All right. Just write some notes, right? Elementary school name, high school name, grocery store name, couple of cute little local run businesses, name, a list of the pendings, a list of the solds. Because even if I can't memorize all of it, as long as I've got access to it, so when I'm asked a question, I can refer to it. Creating a welcoming atmosphere and energy. I used to think this was so stupid. Not stupid, but kind of lame. And then I learned it's not. So flags and balloons out front, that curb appeal, we want people coming up to the open house to feel they are in the right place, not wondering if they're in the right place. So I want to have something that just screams you are in the right place. And it's going to help get the energy up a little bit. Plus, all the neighbors are going to see it. And I want the neighbors to look at me and go, all right, this person's different. All right, this person's a step up from everybody else. We're going to have some music at our event. And normally there's a slide right there, but might be a little hard to read. But, bring a little speaker in the PDF. It'll talk a little bit more about this. But nobody goes into a cafe. You don't normally go into a retail establishment or a restaurant or a bar. Now, we're not doing a bar. I get that. Where there's not some music. And so we want to have, again, you got like a little portable Bose. You got maybe another kind of a speaker. Make sure it's charged up and leave it in the area where the sign-in sheet is, or maybe between the door and the sign-in area, like in the living room or something. And just have some music kind of low, right? Nothing crazy, some chill out music, some ambient, some, nothing too crazy, right? You might be into rock and roll, rap, or country. I don't want something that's going to be like blasting loud, right? Or, not good if it's not crazy loud. We're going to want it low so that we can have a nice conversation with people and not compete against the music. But having that music in the background can be a great way for people to feel more comfortable and spend more time. Our goal is to get people to spend more time and want to spend more time at the open house. All right. Bring some potpourri, bring a candle, bring some sort of plug-in, bring some cinnamon. All right. There's a lot of great ways to make sure that we have a nice smell. I know it's kind of weird, like smell. Scent might be a better way to phrase that. And if you scan the QR code later, there's goes to a great article that talks a lot more about this, and just the power of smell and the scent to, again, get people to hang out longer. Of course, food and drink. This is one of the top ways. I think the best thing for food and drink. Now you can get a food truck, right? I can hire a food truck. Typically there's a minimum to that, so it's going to cost a little bit of money. If you've got a lender in you and you want to go bang out, all right, and really do it huge, what I would, kind of think in the beginning is start with what I'm going to share with you. And then as you get better and as you get really good at marketing and getting people there, you can talk about doing a food truck down the road. Again, that's one of the things Dustin Fox graduated. He went from small little catering, which I'm going to share with you, He went from that to some bigger stuff, and then he went from that to food trucks. But he didn't start out with doing food trucks. All right, he started out smaller. And again, right there it says consider cross promoting a local market cafe for discounts. If you know an owner of a local cafe, one of our clients knew people at a donut shop and had donuts. But the thing I like the best are mixed nuts. So, for example, you can go to Costco, Walmart, Sam's Club, one of these kind of places, and get like a 2-pound premium mixed nuts, for like maybe 20, $25. It'll probably last you maybe 2 to 3 open houses. It's got great shelf life. So if I don't use all of it, on that same day, I can use it at the next week. And, a thing of mixed nuts like that will last me for a couple of weeks, easy, 2 to 3 weeks, no problem. And they're healthy. So if I don't use them all, I can take them. What doesn't count, and actually I think is counterproductive, is getting a thing of cookies from the grocery store and you leave them in the plastic container sitting there on the countertop. It's just junk food. And a lot of people are just going to pass up, and they're just going to think like, no, I don't want Safeway cookies. All right. That's not impressive. So the idea of having some mixed nuts, you get a little, the small cup containers, fill them about maybe a quarter of the way. Right. I'm not here to give you an 800 calorie meal. I'm just here to give you a few things to kind of pop in your mouth while you're walking around and give me an opportunity to talk to you while you're finishing up your mixed nuts. You might do bottled water with your logo on it. You might do something else. But talk to your broker if you don't have a line on maybe bottled water with your information on it, or at least your brokerage's information. All right. I'm going to let you go through this a little bit later on your own, because I want to make sure that we have enough time to go through the marketing. All right. But come back to this a little bit later. And again, this is inside of Listings to Leads, marketing calendar, presentations, open house mastery. All right, let's get at it, because we've got 25 minutes and I'm going to walk you through how to have the best open house. Now, if you don't have the listing in your Listings to Leads account, get with our support team. They'll help you out. To set the open house for the listing once it's in, you're going to click, there's a little icon to the far right. And it says add open house when I mouse over it. Click on it. You will select the date, the starting time, ending time. You can do multiple if you need to, and then click save. That will flip the status from just listed, coming soon, or active. Well, it'll still say the status, but it's going to populate with the new icon, open house. And all of the tools are going to flip from just listed, coming soon, for sale, to open house automatically. Some of the tools will automatically initiate, like the auto posting, if you got that set up, the tools to the seller, if you're the listing agent, you got that set up. There is a guide that's going to take you back to listingstoleads.com/open house. This is the open house checklist, and you're on the live webinar. Let's go to a Facebook and Instagram ad. And everybody good so far? If you're able to log in and do some of this with me right now, this is the time, and you can actually knock some of this out together. So you see here, we pull in Facebook into Listings to Leads. No need to go to the ads manager. We've got 16 years. Actually, with Facebook, maybe it's 14 years. And I'll tell you, the algorithm treats our clients very, very well. Average cost per lead is about $4, $4.50. And we got the location's going to autofill. You can see there, Folsom, California, because the listing is in Folsom. I got a radius of 15 miles. I would leave it as is. Don't change it. Lifetime budget is $35. I'm going to bump that up. I'm spending 2 hours of my life. I want to get as many people there as possible. And some of those are going to be people that own a home. So, this is, I'm going to get some of these buyers coming through are going to own a home. So I want to make sure I get, I'm not going to spend 35. That's a waste of my time. Start and end in 1 week. Now you may want to adjust the ending date, right? By clicking where it says end. And I'm going to go to the 21st because my open house is actually a different date, but your open house is probably either going to be Saturday or Sunday. And then I can also adjust the time. So maybe the open house is till 4, and I say, let's end it at 3:45. So now it's going to end on the day of the open house, like 15 to 30 minutes before the open house ends, the ad will end. I can change the template. I can do a video. I can do carousel. I can retarget. I can do custom audience. Custom audience or retarget I wouldn't do for an open house. But now check this out. Everyone paying attention? I'm going to show you something in the next minute that will make all the difference in the world to your lead engagement. All right. We're spending money to generate leads, right? What do we want to do? We want to engage leads. We want to convert leads. One of the best ways to do that is to provide more value. One of the best ways to provide more value is to ask good questions so we can find out what they want, and so we can then get that to them. Does that make sense for everybody? Everybody say yes if that made sense. So again, the best way to engage and convert leads is to provide value. All right. The best way to provide value is to know what they want. To know what they want, we got to ask questions. And I'm going to show you how to do that right here in the next 60 seconds. So give me a yes real quick while I have a sip of my coffee. I want to make sure you're awake. So go ahead and type in yes, yes, yes if we're good to go here. Oh, Baldo, how you doing, man? Good to see you. All right, I'm telling you, this is so key. So please pay attention. Click advanced options. So it's easy. Advanced options, we're opening that up, right? Open it up. Click create new form. And right here, questions. We're just going to open up questions. Because again, be thinking, if I can ask good questions, I can find out what they're interested in. And if I can provide them more of what they are interested in, I will be able to engage them more. It's very, very simple logic. The problem is not many people even know you can do this. So obviously, a Facebook lead ad, name, email, and phone number. We all know that. That's nothing special. What is special is we've got 25 other questions that you can ask. And I'm going to turn off the 2 that are here by default. And I'm going to scroll all the way down. Now we got different questions for seller ads. And so let's work our way from the bottom to the top. We're going to be quick. You can come back to this later. How much do you currently have available for a down payment, even if it's 0? And I'm going to just kind of scroll up a little bit. Here's a good one for new construction. Would you like me to send you current builder incentives or specials? So if I was doing an open house at a new construction, that would be a great question to ask. There are 5 questions that are all phrased the exact same, but the profiles and the responses, the answers available are different. So what's most important to you in your next home? The first one's for first-time buyers. It says that right there. Family move-up, downsizing, retirement, lifestyle, second home. So if I'm in Southwest Florida, if I'm in Tahoe, this might be a good one. Luxury, executive buyers. And when I mouse over these question marks, you'll notice the responses available are different for every one of them. So, what is the home like? So this home I'm going to be marketing is more of a for a first-time home buyer. And the responses are, what's most important to you in your next home? The options are great schools, family-friendly, safe, open floor plan, extra bedroom, private backyard, close to shopping, or all or most of the above are important. Okay. So that's one good question. I'm going to do 3 total. So I'm going to do 2 more. And would you like to be notified when similar homes hit the market? I like that one. And would you like a list of price reduced homes for sale? You could. I mean, if I'm the listing agent, maybe I don't do that. It's up to you. If I'm borrowing the listing to hold open, that could be a great question. And uh, desired price range. Are you working with a lender? I'm looking to buy and sell. All right. Are you? Yeah. So all right. So the three questions I've got selected. Would you like a list of price reduced homes for sale? Would you like to be notified first when similar listings hit the market? What's most important to you in your next home? I can even drag and drop and rearrange them. Once you're happy with these three questions, go create form. Go ahead and just close advanced options, and I'm good to go. Now, this ad will be submitted to Meta. 15 minutes, couple of hours, just depends on Meta. Normally it's 10 to 20 minutes. The ad's going to be live. And now when people click the ad, they're going to click. The first thing they're going to see are those three questions. They're going to have to respond to all three questions. If your CRM does not have AI text follow-up, you can sign up for hours. And as I just mentioned, John did an open house, got a lead from the ad. The AI text followed up with the lead, and he's going to be closing escrow on December 30th. So I told John, I'm like, too bad it didn't close before Christmas. That would have been a great Christmas gift, but it's a great way to end the year on kind of one of the easiest leads you're ever going to get. All right, it's a Facebook ad. AI text followed up, qualified, you took over, you wrote an offer, the offer got accepted, and you're going to close all within October, like 2.5 months, right? Under 90 days. So that's beautiful. If you want to subscribe to the AI text, just subscribe to the up to 50 leads to start with. Hit next. You're going to enter your credit card information, and then on the next screen, you're going to select the AI agent name. There's like 15 names you can select from. You'll select a name. Then you're going to select buyer leads, seller leads, or both. And that's it. And then by the time that ad is live, the AI text will be there to follow up. You'll get an email notification letting you know every time a new lead is being engaged. You'll get a email every time a lead responds, so you'll know exactly where the conversation is at. There will be a button in the email that you can tap to log into the account and go right to the conversation. So you can always see the full conversation. You can turn off the conversation when you want to take it over. You still want to follow up with leads. So just because you got AI text doesn't mean you can't do follow up as well. And you should do follow up. The beautiful thing about AI text is I don't need to feel obligated to follow up immediately. I can, time block an hour a day and then do all my follow up at once, like one time, right? Instead of trying to, run around like a crazy person calling people within 5 minutes. So the AI text is awesome. Let me show you a quick example of another previous ad so you can just get a better feel for how these ads work. And let's see, Facebook, show ad. And here we go. So here's the ad. Oh, I've already done that one before. I'll tell you what, let's try that one. It usually takes a few minutes for this link to go live. So if you click it right away, it'll say inactive, but it's live. So let's take a quick look at it. And there we go. So I'm going to click on the ad. And there we go. Would you like a list of price reduced homes for sale? Yes, I would. Would you like to be notified? Yes, I would. What's most important to you in your next home? Great schools, nearby parks. Now, when I click continue, you're going to get an email. It's going to show all 3 questions in the email, and it'll say, would you like a list of price reduced homes for sale? The person said yes. Would you like to be notified when a new listing hit the market? The person said yes. What's most important in your next home? The person said great schools. Now in my follow-up, I'm going to follow up and say, hey, thank you for responding to the open house ad. Hopefully I'll get to see you there. And I saw that you requested to get a list of price reduced homes for sale and to be notified when similar listings hit the market. Are there any features about a home that you're interested in so that I can make sure to prepare the best list possible? Otherwise, if I just send you, all the price reductions and all of the similar listings, in the entire, area, that's going to be a lot of listings. And so I want to make sure to send you the most precise list possible so I don't waste your time. All right. And I want to make sure, great schools and nearby parks, are you interested in public schools, private schools, elementary, high school? If you think I can get a little bit more information about what type of schools you're thinking of, I can make sure, again, to make sure that these homes that I send you are going to meet the criteria that you are looking for. You see how different that is versus just getting name, email, and phone number, right? When you get just name, email, and phone number, I don't know what you're into. I don't know what's going on, right? It's like, I'm going to call you up, but it's like, what am I going to say to you? Now that I know this, or whatever questions you ask, you don't have to ask these, but when you respond in the follow-up relating to the responses to these questions, the engagement from the lead is 2 to 3x. It's a great, great, great way to 2 to 3x your lead engagement. All right, let's knock the rest of this out because we got a long way to go. But there's only a few things that we need to touch on at a high level. Social media posts, this will automatically post, but I do like to go, I like the other image better. For the ad where I'm paying per lead, I like that template that's vertical. For this one, I like the one that's more horizontal. It doesn't matter. But I just like to show people that you can change this. It's fully editable. I can click in here and I can edit anything. You don't need to. You really don't need to. All right. Typically, the default text and the default template that we've got perform better. We've been doing this for over a decade. All right. You can do whatever you want to, and I recommend that you do whatever you want. But just know, if you're going off and you're kind of using, for example, I use AI, I create a new ad or post text, and my cost per lead is coming at $8 or $9 per lead. Maybe next time I just go with what Listings to Leads has by default, because our default ads, again, are coming in for open house about $4 to $4.50 per lead. For just listed, about $2.50 to $3 a lead. For active listings with no open house, about $3.50 to $4 a lead. So our cost per lead, even with those 3 questions plus name, email, and phone number, is usually, the average is definitely below $5, and the range is anywhere from $2 to $8. So $8 is not out of the, that's within the average range. Okay, there's a range. Average might be 4, but what that means is people are bouncing between $2 to $8, right, per lead. If you're over $8, you're going to want to stop the ad and just rerun it. Sometimes a Facebook algorithm goes a little bit nuts, and it just kind of goes haywire. And so just stopping and restarting the ad can do a world of wonders for you. All right, next up, the e-flyer for the seller sphere of influence. Oh, I'm sorry, one more thing. For the social media post, make sure you've got your Google business page connected. You can do that via Connect Social Accounts and your Google business right here. You want to make sure all of it, but in particular Google, because this can help you increase your ranking on Google. I've had several people tell me that their Google business page was, way down there in the beginning. And then after they started using listings to leads, they had the things posting to it, that their ranking in the search for Google went a lot higher because of our program. So make sure you got Google set up. The next two tools are the share on seller social media. We want to make sure that we give this to the seller. Obviously, this is for listing agents only. Imagine this on the seller's page, and people click, they go to the property website, but more importantly, they start liking and commenting on the post. This is one of the best ways for us to engage with the seller's sphere of influence in a way that's going to bring us more business. We've had clients get multiple listings, buyers from this. What you're going to do is you're going to click send a seller or add seller info, email, salutation, click send. While we're here, we're going to go to the e-flyer. All right. Again, for the seller sphere of influence. And we're going to send this e-flyer to the seller. And similar to the post, people click the e-flyer, they go to the property website. The property website has a lot of great lead capture. So it's counting down for the open house. And I've got a professional photos. I got maps and local. I have the property video at the top. Homeowners can get their home value. They can download PDF guides, both buyer and seller guides. I've got a client review video. I've got a community video. So if you're into doing YouTube and you got like area community videos, you can add them to your property websites. So a lot of really, really cool things there. Oh no, God dang it. Hold on one second. Oh my gosh. I closed out my account. Sometimes even people that should know better do something stupid. That's all right. Give me about 12 seconds and I'll be right back where I need to be at. I'm on my other monitor. Let me just get to where I need to be at so I don't confuse everybody. And we were at the e-flyer and the social media post for the seller. There we go. So we're looking at the e-flyer. Look how beautiful that e-flyer looks. Again, if I'm doing an open house, I don't want my open house. Now, if I'm doing a bunch of open houses, maybe I've got an email with a bunch of open houses in them. But if I'm going to be at an open house, I want to make sure this doesn't get lost in a bunch of other stuff. So this would be a special email that I send out to my database. And there's my signature at the bottom. And I can this is for the seller. For the seller. So again, click the green, send to seller, add their information, and then you're going to call the seller up. And you're going to say, yes, Taylor, it does. Yeah, we did generate a property video. We upload it to your YouTube channel if you've got that connected. So definitely. But so here's the deal. When you send these to the seller, you are going to be CC'd. So you're going to be CC'd on these two emails. What you want to do is call the seller. You're going to say, hey, Marilyn, Scott here. We're getting ready for the open house on Saturday. And, we got it marked in the MLS. It's on Zillow. I just did a Facebook ad. I did some social media postings. We got some other things that we're going to be doing. We're, looking forward to a great open house with a lot of people. I sent you a couple of things. One for you to post on your Facebook page and something else to share via email. And you likely know people who know people that would love to move to the area. And in this market, I am not going to leave any stones unturned. So I would love for you to put that the post onto Facebook, and the other one you can share via email. And I'll look forward to having an amazing open house. And I'll let you know how it goes. I'll check in with you afterwards, and I'll give you an update on how it went. The seller is going to get those two emails. They're going to love it. They're going to think it's phenomenal. All they will have to do in the email is they're going to copy this text. They're going to post it on their Facebook page. It promotes you, right? It'll say, Scott Pierce at XYZ Realty, or, Adam Koning at, Remax Realty. I'm sure you're not at Remax. Don't get mad at me, but you get my point, right? But here's where to take this to the next level. After the seller puts it on their Facebook page, go like the post and then go comment on it. That way, anytime somebody else leaves a comment, you're going to get notified. And some of the comments from their friends are going to be great comments for you to be able to start engaging them with. So they may say, wow, those are really great photos, or what's it listed at, or how long's it been on the market for, or how is the market, or I thought the market was no good, or what else is going on, how else is your agent marketing the property. So these are going to be questions that are great for you to come in with and start engaging the friends and family and colleagues of that seller. Does that make sense? So as a listing agent, please make sure, there's nothing drives me more nuts than a client coming to me and saying, Scott, I've been a client for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and I've never used these tools. And I started using them, and I can't believe I didn't use them in the past. Like, I'm just kicking myself. And I'm like, well, I want to kick you too, because they're so powerful. You got to use them. All right. Nearby homeowner letter. I'm going to try to knock this out in the next 5 minutes. All right. This letter right here. I don't need to talk too much about this letter, because the more I talk about it, the more confused you will get. So I'm going to say this right here. You don't need to change anything on this letter. Door knock this letter. All right. One of our clients, Gwen, and I'm telling you, this woman is a pistol. She is just on fire. And what she does is she door knocks 50 homes for every open house, and she's getting great response. I like to do 100. I want to door knock 100 homes around the open house, because I want to get as many buyer or many homeowners to my open house as possible. You could mail it to the neighbors if you want to, right? Pull a list from your title company, right? Whatever you want to do. But I would door knock, even in winter. I know it's a little bit cold, it's a little bit chilly. I would try to go from like 4 to 5 or 3 to 5, 3 or 4, two, maybe 3 nights. If it's a Sunday open house, maybe I go Saturday from like 10 to 12 and door knock, or 12 to 2. But I want to get and meet. And even as a borrowed, when you're borrowing the listing. So Adam, I think that was you. Even though it's not your listing, dude, phenomenal way to get a listing in that area, from a listing that it's not even yours. And obviously, if it's your listing, you're going to do this. These are editable, but the more you edit it, the worse it gets, unless you're editing it for a neighborhood preview. But I'm telling you, you got to use these letters. They're all the same, just different formats. I like the one on the left the best. All right. We do have postcards and door hangers, not really relevant for this. We do have a circle prospecting script. I'm just going to point that out. I don't have time to go through this today, because I got really 2 more things I want to get to. The e-flyer that we're going to talk about right now, and the open house sign-in form. I am going to refer you back to that link, listingsleads.com/open house, and the presentation under the marketing calendar. Your database. In fact, let me just tease you real quick right here. Gwen, look, read what she just said. After sending the thinking about waiting emails, I got a buyer that made a cash bid and woke up to an acceptance to close before New Year's. So we drop emails about once a week into your account that relate to different things that are going on, like the Fed rate cuts or whatever. And so she sent one of our emails to her database, I think in Lofty, and a buyer responded, and they ended up writing a cash offer because of the email, right? Got the lead to respond finally. I don't think she'd ever spoken to the lead before. The lead responds to her email, and they wrote a cash offer. And so she woke up this morning that the offer was accepted, and they're going to close before the end of the year. Again, what a beautiful win. right? Facebook lead, AI follow-up, qualifies it, you write an offer, boom. She sends an email that we wrote, sends it to her database, the lead responds. And so this is kind of similar. This email right here, this is for our database. It's going to link to the property website. This is the invitation. All right. I want you to be thinking you are a luxury agent. I don't care if it's a double wide trailer on the wrong side of the tracks. You are still going to provide luxury service to your database, to your clients. Luxury is not about price point. It's about attitude and your actions. So I want to get this to my database as an invitation to come to my open house. I can do a couple of different things. I can send it to all my leads and listings to leads, right? So buyer leads. I can say, I would send it to all of them. I even want my seller leads, my homeowners to know that I'm an active person, even if it's not my listing. They don't know. It doesn't matter. And click send. I can also, you can do a couple of different things. One is I can just, check this out. I can just copy all of this. And I know it's going to seem a little bit counterintuitive. And give it a second here. We're almost done. Okay, I want to copy that signature too. So I'm just going to copy all of this. And I can go to Follow Up Boss. I can go to Lofty, wherever, where I send out an email to my, because you got your database somewhere. Create email blast. All of this is pretty ubiquitous in any type of CRM email program. And I might say, you're invited to an open house at 15 Ambient Way in Folsom. I'm not going to put the date. I'm just going to do that. And then, oh, geez Louise. Hold on a second. Let me back it up. Let's do it again. Sometimes my trackpad, you touch it wrong and like to blow it up. So you saw before what I did for the subject line. You're invited to an open house at 15 Ambient Way in Folsom. Or I could just do you're invited to an open house in Folsom. Don't put the address, don't put the day. Just paste all that in there. Look at that. I got my slideshow. All the links are good. I got the home value graphic and link right there. So I'm going to generate seller leads. I'm going to get buyer leads. I'm going to send this out through Lofty. I'm going to send it out through Follow Up Boss, through whatever Bold Trail. So get that out to all of your database. And then call some of your database people up. Like I said, luxury is not a price point. Luxury is not about being a $5 million listing and wearing a Hugo Boss suit. Luxury is about adding value and taking care of people. And we can do that, again, at any price point, no matter if you're brand new or you've been around for 20 years. So call through your database, provide a white glove luxury service by inviting them to your open house. Okay. And that's going to go a long way to engaging these people when they are ready to buy or sell. All right. I don't want my first conversation with somebody to be, are you looking to buy or sell? I want them to know I'm a professional agent. I'm accessible. I'm easy to deal with. I'm here to provide a high level of service before they look to buy or sell, because at that point it's too late. All right. It's too late. And the last thing we're going to go through here, because there's more I can do. But again, listingstoleads.com/open house. There's the cheat sheet I recommend. You can scroll down, find things that you're looking for in particular, but that cheat sheet will get you 99% of the way there. All right, open house sign-in form. There's an online version, there's a print version, and there's a QR code. Now, a lot of people like to do the print version. And you can see down here, custom questions. I can rearrange. I can delete. I can turn them off. I can add new ones, and I can do short answer, paragraph, checkboxes, radio buttons, or a drop down. So you can play with that to your heart's content. And any reorder, addition, whatever, both the print and the online version are going to update. So people, let's say it's on a tablet, they're going to tap, when are you looking to buy? Do you own your current home? Now, here's the thing. If I do use the paper or print version, be sure, don't forget later to add them to the online version. Okay. That's like the dumbest thing. People do the print version, they forget to add them to the online. It's like, why bother? If you're not going to add them to the online version, why bother even doing anything? All right. So add them afterwards. Take 10 minutes. Realtor's name. Now, if they put your name, that means they don't have a realtor. All right. I don't have a realtor. Usually that's what they'll do. I don't have a realtor, or they'll put in, like they have a realtor. Oh my gosh, whatever. Now check this out. Continue. And now we offer them 6 things to check before buying a home. So when they fill this out, they're going to get that guide automatically. All right. Unless they uncheck it. The one thing you can also do for the online version is there is a setting. Oh, right here. Show questions first, then contact information. Show contact information first, then questions. So check this out. When I select that one, now when I click the sign in form, now they want your information first, then it's going to ask those questions. So again, just different options that you can select from here. And listing flyers. We got a lot of great templates. 1 photo, 2 photo, 3 photo, 4, 5. And if I just clicked it download, let me just show you. Because again, I said put it on the yard sign, and especially for pending. If any of you have a pending listing, go to listingsleads.com/pending. Everything I say here that we do for an open house, we do for a pending. We don't do the open house, but all the marketing, oh my God. Pending is one of the best, and especially the yard sign. I want to make sure I've got this on my pending listing. You talk about seller leads. Holy cow. You do the yard sign right for a pending listing, man, those seller leads are some of the best. But notice QR code, text code, the URL, 15theambientway.thebestlisting.com. A little bit of the property description, and then a seller call to action. And like I said before, I got like 15, 20, 30, 40 different templates here. All right, all sorts of templates. Man, these have been in the system for like 20 years. Those are old ones. But yeah, we got like 20-ish, 30 templates here that are all pretty nice. And they're your colors, your logo, your picture, all your stuff. Mine are blue because that's just what I got selected for this listing. But if you're with Remax, or KW, they're red, and you're with Real or LPT or Epic, and you got your color brand, all your fonts, all your colors are going to be dialed in, and you're going to be good to go. All right. All right. Yeah, you know what? Thank you for that question. I always assume people know. Yes, as soon as your listing is added to your account, all of the stuff is created. So everything you see here is created as soon as that listing, whether you do it manually, you do it from the data feed, you grab it, whatever it is, all of this is automatic. And check that out. 15theambientway.thebestlisting.com. And if you ever need to, I can go to edit. I can add professional photos, videos, and a 3D tour. I can add the seller's information, like we were talking about, sending those tools to the seller. I can change the domain. So check this out. It'll normally try to do street address, 15 Ambient Way, 46 Gold Lane, 2315 Elm Street, right? Whatever. And then it'll give you one of these endings. The best listing, world's best listing, is home now, is the best house, beautiful home for sale, my tours online, best home in America, America's best listing. And I tell you, those are so good because especially when you're doing a listing presentation, right? Or you're going after expireds or FSBOs. So for example, I've got a listing presentation coming up right here. And I click on market listing and I go to the flip book, right? So I got my flip book and I got the PDF I'm going to use, right, as a leave behind at my listing presentation. And when your homeowner is going through this, check that out. 834 Mazarine Lane. I'm sorry, 834 Mazarine worldsbestlisting.com. Sellers go nuts over that. Right? Look at that. Right to that domain. That's a picture of their home. That's like they're literally their home on the cover. I do professional photos of all of my listings. So this is all stuff that we teach in our daily 7 a.m. and 4 p.m. Pacific. Right? They scan the QR code. Bam. Right? Phenomenal. Talk about coming soon, just listed, open house, active, pending, sold. So yeah, those domains come in real great use in a lot of different ways throughout the platform. And so again, yeah, that single property website is automatically created. You can add 3D tours, property videos, walkthrough videos, professional photos, all that stuff. All right, everybody, listen, thank you so much for joining us. Any other questions I can help you with? All right. In the Facebook mastermind group. Oh, in the Facebook mastermind group, be sure to click on events. Where's over here. Upcoming events, where it says list at least one expired FSBO or seller lead. There's 2 a day. Check those out because those are Zooms. And we get together and I just go through. Let me see where the link is. There should be about online. I'll have to check that a little bit later and see how to access that link. Anyways, you can ask support for it or just get in the mastermind group and ask. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great one. All right. Bye-bye.